kick it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
The Girls' Room.
Pardon my voice, I have caught some of the crud flying around, but I am joined ever by my fearless co-host Kat.
Hello, hello, hello.
And the lovely Megan.
Hello, glad to be back.
Unfortunately, Heather has also come down with some of the crud. We love you, we miss you. She sent us in some stuff, so we'll be sure to share that. And today, I think, is, for us, our most anticipated episode of the series.
Absolutely.
Which is music we listened to as a kid in the 90s.
Yeah.
And Alex can't get
Alex
mad.
isn't here, so he can't say anything about the Spice Girls, although he can edit it out, but please don't, because...
He edits out the Spice Girls. I will drive back.
I will drive over.
I will drive back
him
home
down.
and I'll kick his butt.
Whatever, I do what I want.
So let's just open with that. Let's just open with that. Number one, Spice Girls.
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls. I lived for the Spice Girls. At many of my recesses were spent with my friends, picking out which Spice Girl we were. Obviously, I have red hair, so I had to be Ginger Spice. I was not mad about it though, because everyone else fought over all the other ones. She was my favorite. I really deep down in my heart wanted to be Scary Spice. Obviously, that is not something I could do, but I loved Scary Spice's aesthetic. Her big hair.
Her wardrobe was phenomenal.
But I was always Ginger, and we would choreograph dances to the Spice Girls song.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always loved Sporty was mine because I was such a tomboy, because I didn't start changing my entire wardrobe until I hit like middle school, because I used to wear more like big baggy t-shirts, or I played sports. I had to choose between cheer and basketball, and I chose basketball because I was more the sports girl.
I was the weird one. I did both. Like I went to Catholic school, so we had uniforms. And while I could wear shorts or pants, those uniform pants are not built well for girls. So I would always wear the jumpers or the skirts, and I would have biker shorts on underneath, so I could romp around in my tomboyness at recess. I remember one year we did a thing for the talent show. We did a number from the Spice Girls. I think we did Spice Up Your Life, because all of the other ones we wanted to do, they were like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. You can't sing when two become one.
The fact that I knew all of the words to that song as a small child it's just proof that kids don't actually understand some of the music and movies.
Yeah.
Like, I know nowadays parents are like very, very particular about what their kids watch, but I'm telling you right now, those kids are not going to understand what is going on.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that I listened to, like getting ready for this episode, and I was like, oh no. Oh wow, no. Like even stuff on I'll talk about it in a minute, but like some stuff that was like on like musical guests on All That, like some of their songs were heavily censored on the All That album, and then some of them, it was like, why did they even include this? Like, why?
Did I call you? No. We did mention your favorite group.
It's la 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 la
la la
la la.
But I was so excited because, and obviously as a kid, I did not understand the difference, but I was so excited because I had an American flag swimsuit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to wear my American flag swimsuit and wear a little skirt over it, and I'm going to be just like Ginger. I loved it.
Yes.
Ginger was my favorite, but I also feel like even when I was a kid, like I guess 10, 11 years old was sort of like the Spice Girl era for me when that hit, and I was like my voice is a little low, so like I still can't sing like girly songs. I'm not a soprano. If I try to sing, like I end up singing in the car. But I remember reading an interview where like I even had the Spice Girls like what their ranges were, and I'm pretty sure like Scary was the lowest, followed by Posh, then Ginger, then Sporty, then Baby. like going from lowest to highest. And I was like, okay, so Ginger's in the middle. So I tried to suss out as I was listening without any music videos or anything. I tried to determine which woman was singing which part, which Spice was singing what. And I it was about 50-50. It was 50%, you know. It was like some of them were a little hard to tell. Sporty's easy. Like just the I don't even know the correct terms for it, but just like their vocal, like their affectations, like you can tell some of them.
You can tell like by the like the sound of their voice. They had very distinct vocal sounds, but they also melded together incredibly well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always thought Jerry and Mel B always had very similar voice tones. So I always had a hard time distincting which one was singing at the right time. Like if it wasn't for the Spice World movie, I would be like,
right?
Oh, so she sings that one. So she sings the first verse, and then Jerry comes in later on with that one. So I was like, okay, because they do, like in Wannabe especially, because they go back and forth. So it was really hard to, because Baby, you could distinct Sporty obviously
everywhere.
And Posh didn't do a lot of solos.
You barely heard
she didn't get a lot of solos.
She was more of like the filler in like that blended voice. And as I got older, I realized I'm so much more like Posh as I've gotten as an adult, because especially in the movie when she's like, "Don't touch my wardrobe."
She's like, leave me alone. And I'm like, oh God, I am Posh. And they're like, no, thank you.
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's more.
I guess I'll be here because I have to be.
Yeah.
Hey, she did well for herself. Good.
Yeah, she
good
did.
for you, Victoria Beckham.
Yes.
Good for you.
Gorgeous husband.
Successful marriage. She even admitted that she didn't think she could sing. Like she was just kind of there.
Yeah, she was like, I was just there. It was like, you know what? Good for you.
Yeah. She could. I mean, sometimes it's, like my mom's the same way. My mom is not a big like solo singer, but she is a beautiful harmonic singer.
Ensemble singer.
And she fills that middle part. Yeah. So like she fills the middle part from if I lead or something, and my other piano player is my alto. She's my lower part. So my mom puts that second soprano and she can nail it. And that's why I feel like Posh was. Like she had that part that they needed. And that's why they blended so well, I thought. So,
I also love that she has kept some iteration of the Posh haircut.
Yes. She has, her hair's not changed too much.
She is a bob girl, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
So Spice Girls, the movie, like I have both their albums, and the movie came out, and I think about the same time that Spice World, the movie and Spice World, the album, were like released simultaneously, I believe.
97?
I think so. That sounds about right. 97. But I remember getting the album, and I was disappointed that they didn't have the Leader of the Gang song on there.
Oh yeah.
Come on, come on. But then of course, like I ended up years later understanding, Gary Glitter. Oh shit. Yeah, that's right. That's why they couldn't do. Okay, I can understand why you don't want to promote it.
Never mind.
But I remember like listening to like that part of the movie and like rewinding all the time. And I didn't own the movie, but we rented it. So like rewind, then the song, rewind again, tried to hold up the tape player to sort of record it. Didn't really get it. There was talking in the middle, but I just wanted that track like uninterrupted because it was a bop. I thought so.
Oh yeah.
It was.
Yeah, that was what I liked about a lot of their songs. Like the slow ones were cool and smooth, but like the other ones just made you want to get up and dance.
It was it was dance music.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, when they're in the like boot, like the training camp or whatever, and they start playing Never Get on the Good Times, and they're doing
living it up is a state.
Yeah. Like, that's such a good jam. Like
I still turn on Spice Girls. If I'm in a bad mood, I will turn on Spice Girls and just rock out in my car.
I've got them on my Spotify. I mean, I was like, sorry,
I've got a playlist of my old 90s nostalgia music, and when those come on,
it's a good time.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah, and girl power too. I mean,
yes.
That was the start of like the 90s girl power in my mind. Like I understand it was a thing in the 60s and 70s, women's empowerment, but Spice Girls brought it up to the forefront in the 90s.
Spice Girls, the revolution.
I feel like brought it to kids in a way.
Of that era, yes.
To or not. Like obviously 60s, 70s women's equality movement,
Oh yeah.
all of that. It was women in power, like go women. But I feel like Spice Girls really, whether they meant to or not, were like girl power, and then kids were like girl power. Like
Yes.
it kind of bridged that gap between the adults and kids of women's empowerment, and I was here for it.
Yeah, especially I think just because, well, I mean, Spice Women sounds weird, but girls, like Spice Girls and like girl power, so like it made it more accessible, I think, for the younger kids, because they're not saying like, yeah, women's power, Spice Women. That just sounds weird anyway, but to hear. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a girl power. I'm a little girl, you know, we can do anything the boys can do.
And I think that bled to everything else, because like that bled to all the Disney Channel like movies and shows, and like it just kind of started going around more, and I was here for it.
I always think, like, as a comparison, I always think of the Cheetah Girls from Disney, because they were all about that, you know, very sisterhood and very girl power and girl, you know, representation. And that's what, they did. I mean, you did have your groups back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, you know, but they were more like, you know, garnered toward women instead of the like young girls growing up, and who can we look up to. So
and the thing that's interesting about the Spice Girls, I'm not sure if either one of you have said this before, but I remember hearing somebody else say it. I apologize if I'm stealing the idea, but I want to bring it to the forefront again.
Sure.
That the Spice Girls were marketed a lot like the boy bands, which is the first time that I remember seeing anything like it, where it was, you know, it's like, which one is your favorite? And they each have distinct personalities and distinct wardrobe. Whereas before it was, I don't know, it was like one woman in a band, or the group was collectively.
There was like a lead and then others.
Yeah, the lead and the backups. But each member of the Spice Girls had their own voice, their own personality, their own, and they, for marketing, it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, for a while the Spice Girls toured with, wasn't it like, didn't the Spice Girls and NSYNC or the Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys like do a
I think they did
tour? Because I wanted to go so bad, and there was no way.
That might have been a little later on, maybe. I don't know. Let me see. Let's Google.
I want to say they did.
But that's a good transition, though, if we want to talk more about another band.
Boy bands.
Boy bands. I never had a favorite boy. Like, I was never Team NSYNC or Team Backstreet Boys. I had both the albums. I listened to them.
I didn't dislike the Backstreet Boys, but I preferred NSYNC.
Why is that, do you think? Just their sound, or just you
maybe
liked one of the singers more than one of the others? Or
I have always been the one who always likes the weirdo of the group. It's how it is, because when I first started liking NSYNC, I loved Chris. I loved that dude. All the crazy dreads. Hairs, absolutely loved him. And then my second favorite was Lance. Like, I didn't even care.
I love Lance, I
didn't even care about Justin Timberlake or Jay-Z. Like, I didn't care. I've always liked the weirdos of the group. I don't know why. I mean, I did the same. Like, I used to drive my sister nuts because she was, you know, she was a big Jonas Brothers and all that. And I always liked Kevin out of the Jonas Brothers. And she was like, you like Kevin? And I'm like, yeah, he seems to be like the most normal one of the group. But okay.
He's just the most laid back, chill person.
Yeah. See, I liked, as far as like boy band groups, like I like, and I still have the cassette here to this day without the inserts. Hanson. I played Hanson's Middle of Nowhere on repeat.
Hanson was like huge.
And I feel like it was one of the first albums where like I could listen to it all the way through without wanting to fast forward any one song. Like it was all pretty legit. And of course, like back in the day, if anybody listening to this doesn't understand cassette tapes, you had to rewind and fast forward. There was no skipping to tracks.
You didn't have tracks.
You had to time it, and then, is it there yet? Nope. Rewind. Nope. Oh, overshot it. Oh. So like your listening experience was interrupted if you didn't want to listen through the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, that was one where I was content to leave it on and just flip it to side A, side B, whatever, and it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Hanson was a huge
actually.
staple for me.
I never really was into Hanson in the 90s.
Really?
Hmm.
No.
I thought for sure you would have been.
No.
Wow.
I never really, and I used to be annoyed by Bop. I used to never really care for it.
Well, they were one of the first like mainstream, technically Christian groups. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm surprised that
Mm.
you
Yeah, no. I never really got into him like everybody else.
I
And then
loved
Were
it.
they really Christian band coded? Hmm.
I think it was one of those ones that flies under the radar, but they were very
Just kind of
outward
wholesome
about their
and
beliefs. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
their songs were very clean. Like it
Mhm.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they well, and I think it was in the 2000s that when they made another album, and of course
Mm.
this was after their voices had changed, and
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, like the sound was completely different because it was legitimately. Um, then I kind of started liking them, but I still I don't even have a single album of theirs.
Oh,
But
I
I
do.
didn't really fully start to love them until I was an adult. And I
Mm.
mean, they have probably one of the best harmonic voices
Mm-hmm.
out of every single group I've ever heard. As much as I love Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, Hanson to me is the definitive, like, I
Have you
mean,
seen
in
Again,
my
the
opinion.
clip of Kate McKinnon nerding out in front of Hanson about Hanson? He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, your vocals, your harmonies. Oh my God."
Oh my God. Yes. I mean,
again, weird one
insane.
out. I loved Isaac. Like I was always like the one that was the least popular. I was like, that's my favorite.
Hmm. Yeah, everybody loves was it Zach? Was it the
Zach
youngest?
and
He was down
Taylor.
Taylor.
I think everybody loved Taylor where I was at, but I was around Zach's
I think they're
age.
all just beautiful, but I mean, because when I watched The Masked Singer, and when they were
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm still to this day ticked that they did not win, because I'm like, that you just like kicked your winners to the side, because I was like, no, no, no. I mean, outstanding. As soon as the first time they sang, I went, that's Hanson. I mean, I knew it, and I
Mhm.
never really
I
grew
love
up
that stuff, and
listening to
I'm
him that
like,
much.
oh,
I just knew it. I was like, I
well, it's just like
know
when Joey
Hanson.
was on The Masked Singer, and I was like, that's
That's
Joey
Joey.
Fatone.
I knew Nick Carter. I was like, that's Nick Carter.
That's
I
Joey
See, I
know Nick
guess
Fatone.
some of
Carter.
the weird ones on The Masked Singer. I don't guess like the ones that everyone's like, "Yep, I know that voice." I'm like, "That's a comedian who also has a great singing voice. That's Anna
Yes.
Gasteyer."
That's what makes me laugh about Ken Jeong, because
I
he does the
love
same
Anna
thing.
Gasteyer, and I
She
picture
did
it too.
she did what gave it away for me was the Martha Stewart shimmy that she did when she was the
Yeah.
Christmas tree. I'm like, that's definitely it's her voice. That's
Well,
definitely
she
nope,
was
got
also
it.
in Reefer Madness, and
Well, she was on Wicked on.
that's how I knew her voice, was because I was
Yeah.
obsessed with Reefer Madness for a really long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just, to me, like I said, they got even better as they got older. I mean, they were great even
Mm.
when they were kids, and then they just continue to just shine. And like I said, I'm gonna have to go and hunt for their current music now, because I want to get into it again. But to me, I just think they're one of the best as far as vocals go, is Hanson. So I have to go
According
with that.
according to Wikipedia, they've sold over 16 million records worldwide. They've had 3 top 20 albums in the US.
Wow.
They've had 3 top 20 US Hot 100 singles and 8 UK top 40 singles.
Hmm.
And they now have their own label that they made, and they record under their own label, which is
Wow.
Wow.
That's so
Records.
awesome.
Well, they own the rights to their own stuff, so
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
good for them.
Well, and they
Yeah.
did was it a charity album? I remember
I
they were
vaguely
doing a lot of
remember.
like well
Hmm.
building in third world countries, and like trying to help with that. And I can't remember if it was like a charity song or charity album, and like all the proceeds went to that. They've been really good about giving back to the world, and
Mm.
good on
Hmm.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. If they have a concert near here, even though I wouldn't know any song but Bop,
Let me know.
I would go. I mean, I would
I'll
go just
I'll
because
drive
I want to hear
back.
him sing. Yeah, it's like, I'm just saying. I'm like, I'll go. I don't care. But yeah, so, but I'm gonna tie around, because I know we talked a little about NSYNC too, but I have to show my love for Backstreet Boys because
Go for it.
they were my all-time.
They deserve it.
Absolute favorite, still to this day.
Look, I am here for AJ's TikToks. Like
yeah.
he did RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race, and he did it for his girls, and like he is such a cool dude.
Yeah.
And I developed more of a love of the Backstreet Boys once I got older. Like I liked their songs, I liked listening to them, but I didn't fangirl as bad as I did with NSYNC. But as an adult, I'm like, you guys are so freaking cool. Like good on you.
Yeah, I think I discovered them in the 4th grade. I want to say it was 4th grade is whenever I found, which they had already been around. I think they originated I think they formed in like 92 or 93. And here it was. I was a kid, grew up still loving them, never had seen them in concert. And then in 2019, they came to Nashville, and I told Alex,
did you get to go?
Oh, yes,
she did.
I told Alex, I was
jealous.
like, I want to go to that concert. If I could ask for anything for Christmas, I want tickets to see the Backstreet Boys. And I said, I want 2 tickets because I want to take my mom, because my mom loves them just as much as I do. And she's a big
That's
AJ
so great.
lover. She's all
I
about
loved
AJ.
AJ.
And Alex was like, okay. So he talked, and he was like, all right, I'll see what I can do. So of course he talked to my dad, and my dad's like, yeah, I'll help you go in on it. And my mom had no clue. So when we opened our boxes, there was our ticket stub for it. And it was probably the most fun I've ever had. I was pregnant with Jensen. So I think I was maybe 14 or 15 weeks. So I didn't know what I was having yet, but that was Jensen's first concert.
Love it.
But they even
3 generations.
mentioned it. Yeah. And they even talked about that, how they said that at the concert. They were like, it's really cool that we can still do this, and there's like multiple generations of people here. And my mom, and then she rubbed my belly for Jensen, but my mom was probably the more girly girl, like
fangirling over
than
it.
I was, which I was, but my mom was next to these random girls, and they were just hugging on my mom like, wasn't that the best thing ever? And my mom's like,
I love making friends at concerts. I do it every time I go anywhere.
I was just sitting over there like, and I was next to some guy, and he was just kind of like, I'm here because my girlfriend's here. But my mom's over there with all these girls, and they're just chatting up like, oh my gosh, have you seen that? And and yeah, I was like, how is it my mom can make friends with these 20-something-year-olds? And I'm just over here like,
if you're anywhere, conventions, concerts, anywhere with a common interest, sports events, just you bond with everybody around you.
Oh gosh,
that is your special interest, and you go all in. You talk about it, and then by the way, my name is like you have whole conversations about this thing that you're interested in, and then by the way.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. But yeah, I'm sad that it took that long to get to go see them. I would have loved to have gone to see them when I was an actual kid. But I'm still glad that I can mark that off my bucket list, that I got to actually see them in person. And they sounded as amazing in live and as they did back in 1995 or 3, whatever
my first concert was it was a boy band, and I didn't love them, but I knew them, and I begged for tickets to go, and it was 98 Degrees.
Mine too. Mine too. 98
Oh my God, was it the one in Evansville?
Yes.
We were at the same
You were at the same concert.
Yep.
My
it was 98 Degrees, and oh God, who opened for them?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember much of the concert at all. I just remember my poor parents, looking back as an adult, just kids screaming, just young girls screaming. If any light flashed on the stage, if somebody was moving something onto the stage, like getting ready. Oh, my poor parents. And like, I didn't love 98 Degrees, but I knew them. So I was like, oh, I have to go. And then I don't remember much of the concert at all.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you much either.
I went. I was there. Megan and I were in the same room before we were friends.
Before we even knew each other. Yeah, I was with my brother's first ex-wife, but they weren't married yet, but they were dating. but it's his first ex-wife. But yeah, she and I went, and a friend of hers. So, because I couldn't drive yet, so I needed someone who could drive, and my mom didn't really want to go. So, yeah, she took me, and
Shout
it
out
was
to my
fun.
parents,
I
sat through the
mean,
whole thing with me.
my
Thanks, parents.
my first concert, I don't know how to count this, but technically my first concert was Sharon Lois and Bram from the Elephant Show when I was like
Oh,
4. My dad took me to the what was it, Valley Forge Music Fair. So technically, I vaguely
that's
remember
an
seeing them on stage.
experience.
Vaguely remember seeing them on stage. Um, but yeah, technically that's my first concert, but like my first actual concert as a more mature human
Yeah.
being, like wasn't until I was in college, really. Like I never got tickets and went to a large
I
venue to
didn't
see a
either.
band perform until like the early 2000s. So my first one was either Midtown or the Killers. But
Ooh.
Oh, I would have loved to see the
the
Killers.
Killers are awesome live.
Oh wow.
They were supposed to open up a like music festival in Pittsburgh, and then I got canceled, and I was
Oh.
so sad because I was like, I finally get to see the Killers. It's gonna happen. No, it's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, we had like the nosebleed seats, but it was still an awesome time.
Oh
Hey.
yeah.
But yeah, like my music, I think everybody's taste in music just evolves. Like when they were a kid, it's like, okay, you do the sing along stuff, and then movies, Disney, and then you start listening to the radio and soundtracks and stuff. And like I ended up recording a whole bunch of just mixtapes of just everything I liked, like throughout the 90s. Like that was my
Yeah.
thing. I would like race over, press
too.
the record button, and like try to get like if I kind of knew a song would be in like the top 5 countdown of the night, I would wait for it and then press
Yeah.
the button.
Or call into the radio station and request it, so that way you knew it was coming
Yeah.
You could
up.
record it off the radio with your tape player. 'Cause I
Yep.
used to do that. I used to
Yep,
record
Yeah.
Oh, I have
bands and
so
stuff.
many,
Yep.
so
I had
many
a
cassette
I had a
tapes that
little
way.
sound system in my room that I got for a birthday or Christmas, and I would have blank tapes in both
Oh yeah,
the tape decks, so I
Yep.
could record things off the radio.
I
Yeah, me
archived
too.
like TV, VHS, and
Yeah.
radio tape. Like I archived everything.
Yeah.
I rarely did I ever record over something. I just kept amassing these
Yeah, my poor
collections of
parents.
like
Look,
mixed stuff.
reasons we should have known I was neurodivergent as a child. I wanted to record everything. I wanted record of every song that I loved, every TV show, movie.
I
Yeah.
knew how the
Should've
VCR
known.
and tape players and
Yep.
everything worked better than my parents. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I could set multiple times for things, and I could like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, there we go. Reason number 1.
Should have
Yeah.
known.
Yeah, that's why in the 2000s, LimeWire was my best friend.
Oh,
so-
Oh, but how
amount
many
of-
viruses did
the
you
amount of
download?
computers, and my dad's like, I don't know what's happening, and I'm like, I don't know either.
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know where all these viruses came from. It was from
LimeWire,
downloading things on
ShareBear,
LimeWire.
all that stuff.
Yeah, no.
But
And I'm pretty sure Alex used to help me find music and stuff too, and downloaded it for me when we were just friends in church and stuff. I'd be like, I really like this song, and he's like, I can find it for you, and of course he did. So
but
yeah,
eclectic tastes in music, so soundtracks and all that stuff. I also have here an original tape here. It is the Weird Al Yankovic Bad Hair Day.
Yes!
Which we
Weird
did not talk
Al.
about Weird Al during. I was surprised with
I
the
can't
guys when we
believe you
mentioned
guys
music.
didn't
We
talk
didn't
about
talk about
Weird
Weird Al.
Al.
Afterward, we were talking, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, it was like, we didn't talk about Weird Al.
I've seen
That-
Weird Al
maybe
in
he can be one
concert.
of your
He is the best.
in
I
the slime lights.
adore
He's
him.
so talented, and just like
Oh, yeah.
as a kid, it was like, oh, I know the song. Oh wait, it's a different version of the song, and then
I
you learn what a
learned
parody is. and
parodies before
Yes,
I learned
exactly.
the originals.
Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
Everything you know is wrong. Alternative polka, like all that stuff, and then Gump, obviously,
Yeah.
Lump, Phony Calls, classic.
Soda, which was Yoda.
Mhm.
Like I learned so many parodies before I learned the original versions of the songs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Amish Paradise and Phony Calls and Gump were the 3. This is from '96. It has a date right on it. But those I definitely remember, like 9, 10 years old, listening to that stuff.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park for McCarthy
Shout out to
Park.
Weird Al.
Yeah, I got to see him in concert. He came to Evansville one year, and my
Yep,
dad and I
he
went,
did.
and it was so friggin' cool. And I don't remember what the song was, but he had a shovel, I don't remember what song it was for,
Hmm.
but I guess what he was supposed to do was throw it off into the wings for somebody to take the shovel. I don't know how there was a miscalculation, but he threw it off into the wings and hit his bass player in the face with a
Oh,
shovel.
no.
That dude finished the song.
oh my gosh.
Just
That's
finished the
insane.
song, walked off. They patched him up real fast and then came back on and finished the concert. And I was like,
Jeez.
this is awesome. Like, oh,
Wow.
it was so good.
Oh man.
I love Weird Al. I'm gonna take it back one more time to a group.
Yeah.
I was a huge Bewitched fan.
Oh, okay.
I hate that they didn't make it too far.
I listened to that album on loop.
Let the fun begin.
Yes. Like,
say you will, say you won't, say you'll do what I will, say you're true.
It's so good. And I learned, other than obviously like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, I really listened to a lot of like foreign groups, because like Bewitched and Spice Girls and a handful of others were all like
the
UK
Cranberries
groups. Yeah.
Yep. And Heather and I both had this one, which was Five, which was another.
Yeah.
I found them from watching Disney Channel original
S Club
movies.
7.
S Club
Yes.
7. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
them.
from Australia. Like, I listened to a lot of foreign groups growing
But when
up.
they sing, a lot of times you can't tell that they have an accent, so you don't know.
No. No, they don't. Yeah, I don't really hear accents when they sing. Yeah, especially Spice Girls. I never could hear theirs. But yeah, no. Oh gosh, Five was like, I watched one of their concerts on the Disney Channel, and I fell in love with them instantly. And I know Heather wanted to give them a shout out too. So yeah, and I have all their album on my phone as well.
Yeah. Lots of pop, lots of even like alternative. There was an alternative radio station in Philly that like played Green Day, which all their songs sound the same, but if you like one of them, you like them all.
Green Day, No Doubt.
No Doubt. Oh, No Doubt was my
I love
first.
No Doubt.
I think it was one of my, if not the first, or one of my first CDs was Tragic Kingdom when I got off the cassette tape era.
Heather also
and then Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
Oh.
Want to talk about alternative music? And a song that I will still do karaoke scream singing to is "You Oughta Know," just because it's so fun.
It's about Dave Coulier.
I know it is. I didn't then.
Which is so mind-blowing. Like, it's about Dave Coulier. Like, come on.
I'm here to remind you. Oh man.
I could never imagine feeling that strongly about that man, but she did.
About Uncle Joey.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
that man to me doesn't read the stuff in that song, but like, good for him. Good for her.
Yeah, you know.
It still is weird to me when I'm like, I'll listen to it and then I'm like, it pops in my head and it's like, it's about Uncle Joey, and I'm like, oh man, really did.
Well, to this day, it's like, isn't it ironic? No, it's not. That's not what irony is. Stop
it's
it.
It's just a weird coincidence.
It's just a coincidence.
Some for Heather's, talking about alternative music, Finger 11, Fuel, Creed. She said not a fan of them, but they were part of the concert that she went to that like really fueled her fire for alternative music. Green Day, Fiona Apple. So good. No Doubt, Aqua, Barbie.
Yes, I mean, it's iconic.
Sneaker Pimps, and
I don't know them.
Gavin Rossdale.
From Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wrote The Offspring because
Americana, I think, was my first album of theirs, which was a little later on in the 90s, but
the girls say I'm pretty fly for a white guy.
Again, I knew the Weird Al version before I knew the original.
Yeah.
Pretty fly for a rabbi.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before we started recording, I didn't get into the alternative music and like 90s grunge and all of that until I got older, obviously, because it was not marketed to children.
Now, I did listen to that as a kid. I
Yeah.
did like Offspring.
I
Alex didn't ever listen to it either. He finally listened to it as an adult, and I was like, I'm surprised because I feel like you would really like it
he
because
would have
you like
loved
rock.
that song.
Yeah. So now, of course, he likes it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a lot of my mom was a like more of like a folk country listener. I got a lot of like John Denver and stuff growing up
Mm-hmm.
from my mom and some of the like OG country artists. And then my dad listened to a lot of like 70s funk and jazz. So I had a very eclectic.
Same.
Yeah.
I will say technically this was the 90s. It's not 90s music, but I have to mention it. I will never forget one of my favorite presents I ever got was a little purple boom box that I took with me everywhere. My mom and dad constantly had to re-put batteries in that thing because I would just blow through them. But it had a cassette and it had the radio, and I don't remember if it was Sonic or a place like Sonic. It was like one of those drive-in restaurants. My
Mm-hmm.
dad, when I was growing up, like when I was little, had a 1957 Chevy. It was like red, white, and chrome. And the restaurant was doing some kind of special where like the box that it came in looked like a 1957 Chevy. So we wanted to go and get it. So we went, and it came with a cassette tape that was all 50s doo-wop music.
Oh, wow.
And I listened to that thing on repeat. That's where I discovered Frankie Valli, who within the last couple years I got to go see in concert, which
Nice.
blew my mind. Thank you, Brian and Sarah. That was insane when he called me and he was like, "Do you want to go see Frankie Valli?" And I was like, "I thought Frankie Valli died."
Do I?
And he was like, "No, he's alive and he's touring. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah." So like getting to listen to Sherry,
Yes, I
Uptown Girl,
love
like
that
all
song.
of these things live was mind
Sherry
blowing. But
baby.
like Run Around Sue, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Like I listened to 50s doo-wop as a small child like it was the best thing in the world.
Speaking of, adjacent to that 50s doo-wop, I think was it the 20th anniversary of Grease was in the late 90s,
Yeah.
and there was a big to-do about that. And of course, at
Yeah.
that point, I got the soundtrack and watched the movie, and that soundtrack definitely went with me on a couple trips across
The
Pennsylvania
2-disc
back and forth.
DVD set.
Yes, this
Oh, I didn't have
like
the 2-disc DVD, but I was content. Like on long car rides, I would need music to just fuel my imagination and listen to, and just like I'm trying to think of all the things that I stack of CDs, need to have enough batteries. Remember the batteries where you could push the ends and it would sort of have that line that would tell you?
Yeah, it would tell you how much
power you had left.
Yeah.
I would definitely do that with like the Walkman and be like, how much more time do I have? But yeah, like that was one of them. Now that I know it, like that was one of them that definitely, because it was a long album, well, like long-ish album. So I had that with me on long car trips. And that was definitely one
that was Frankie Valli in the beginning, wasn't it?
It was in, I think so.
Yeah, Grease is the word.
Yeah.
It's written by the Bee Gees, but Frankie Valli sang it. So yes. Yeah, in the movie.
I got to hear that one live too, which was insane. Like songs I never thought I would hear live by the people who sang them.
Yeah.
Any Frankie Valli song was on my list. I was like, there's no way.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So cool.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I was going to say, going off of what you were saying, kind of about growing up, like what you listened to with like your parents might have listened to. Couple of artists I wrote down because my mom and I used to listen to a lot was Gloria Estefan and Michael Bolton.
Yes. I love there was, I don't remember which album it was, but there was one Gloria Estefan album, and I think it was, I don't know if it was my mom or my dad's, but I would listen to that thing on repeat.
Oh yeah, the rhythm is gonna get you. I was like, oh, I love Gloria. I still could jam to Gloria. Yep.
And my cousins were like a few years older than me. They introduced me to Paula Abdul. So that was another tape that I got.
I was never a Paula Abdul fan. Like her songs exist and their songs to me, I don't know. I think I never really got into them when I was younger, and then American Idol happened and I just really didn't like Paula Abdul, and I was like,
that's fair.
So I had that and then her music and I was like, I'm good. Thanks though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I just remember a lot of the times my mom blasted in Gloria Estefan and Michael
Yeah.
Bolton. I mean, she was a Michael Bolton lover. Like, she just constantly listened to him a lot. And also, like, that was my mom, and then my dad. That's when I got introduced to Michael Jackson because of
Okay.
the Jam album.
Yeah.
Because that's where I kind of discovered him. And I mean, even though he technically originated earlier on, but he
Yeah.
still was very prominent in the 90s. I wrote him down too because yeah, that
I
album was huge.
also listened to a lot of disco growing up because, like I said,
Hmm.
my dad loved 70s
Same. My
music. He
mom,
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
parents'
funk.
music.
He
Mom
loved
did too, yeah.
disco. Like I grew up on, the Jacksons. I grew up on Donna Summer. Like
Hmm.
I grew up on the most eclectic mix of music,
Yeah, same.
and
Same.
it just
80s
furthered because
bands.
once I started picking up music, it was, of course, it was our, what we're talking about, our, our boy bands, our girl groups, all of that. But then, like, I went into like classical music and opera, and like
Hmm.
anytime someone's like, what's your favorite music, and I'm like, from what genre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just
Same.
pick one.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
way. I
I'm an open
listen
book
Yeah.
when it
to
comes to that.
just about everything.
Yeah, same. Same. Yeah, I mean, I just remember many, many memories of blasting those through the house all the time. My dad would
Mhm.
he'd either have he still had a record player at the time, or he would put a CD or tape in, and it would blast through the entire house. If we were
Mhm.
cleaning or getting ready, we would always jam to it.
I also
Oh,
I developed this as a child. I loved Elvis as a kid.
my mom
Mm.
does too,
I
yeah.
was in love with Elvis. Um, I will argue till I'm blue in the face. Elvis's Christmas album is the best Christmas album of
Yes.
all
It's
time.
great.
I listen to it every year.
His
I don't even know how I got obsessed with Elvis. Um, but I started getting his like CDs as gifts from my parents.
Mhm.
And I will never forget, it's my mom has told me this story so many times, and I briefly remembered. I don't remember a lot. But we went to Busch Gardens one summer, and I loved it because all of the girls wore the big dresses that looked like big flowers, and I was just obsessed because I loved hoop skirts. I still love hoop skirts.
I do
But there
too.
was an Elvis impersonator, and apparently I sat through his whole set, and I didn't want to leave, and he came over and
Oh,
talked to me, and I just talked to him forever and ever and ever, and my parents were like,
Aw.
okay, we gotta go, and I wanted to sit there and talk to Elvis. Like, I don't know where it happened, but I fell
Aw.
in love with Elvis as a small child. My great aunt also loved Elvis. So
mm,
she, like, I remember on Christmas, on their Christmas tree at my great grandma's house, like, she had like some Elvis ornaments and stuff, and yeah, I was a
yeah.
weird kid, but hey.
Special shout out to our good friend Landon Schroller, who's an
Yeah,
amazing Elvis
Landon.
impersonator right now.
He
Oh my gosh.
honestly, best Elvis impersonator I know.
I I had to show my mom. I was like, Mom, I know you love Landon. So I was like, let me show you something real quick. And so I showed his
So
video from
good.
when he was in Vegas. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
listen to this. And she was like,
He competed in like
yeah,
big Elvis impersonator contests. And
yeah,
then he
Wow.
also has he is part of a group called the King's Review, where
mm-hmm,
he essentially performs as Elvis with a live band.
yeah.
Phenomenal. Check
Wow.
them out if
He's
they're anywhere near you.
he's an amazing singer.
Amazing vocalist.
Just so incredible. Yeah, he's awesome. Special shout out to you,
Yeah.
Landon, if you're
Special
watching
shout
this.
out to
If you ever
Landon.
watch this, tag you in the video. Give a tag in the video. Yeah. I do want to point out um some R&B girlies because
Mm.
I also I was all about the pop, but let me tell you, I have a special place for my R&B girlies, so I got to give some shouts to Brandy,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, Tony Braxton,
Oh,
and of course our beloved Whitney
unbreak
Houston.
my heart.
Yes. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, that song is just
Whitney Houston.
fire.
Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody has been one of my all-time favorite
Hmm.
songs since the first time
Same.
I heard it. I will stop everything I'm doing if that song
Hmm.
comes on just to listen to it.
Same. I got it on
Love it.
Spotify. Yep. Hmm. Hmm.
and just like amazing women in general, like the women of R&B in the 90s and
powerhouse
in the 80s,
vocalists,
just powerhouse
amazing
vocalists, wonderful human beings, like Whitney Houston. Rest in peace, girl. She pioneered for as many female vocalists as she could, up and coming. There was no competitiveness with her. She was just, what can I do to help you get where you want to go? Like Brandy as Cinderella, my all-time favorite Cinderella.
Yes, mine too.
I'll argue it till I'm blue in the face.
That movie is just chef's
it's
kiss.
phenomenal.
Impossible.
Like, and they brought them back
for
the new Descendants movie, and I watched it just to see them. Like,
same.
Just phenomenal.
Oh my gosh,
we had the best.
We were spoiled with so many good. Yeah.
There's no comparison because I feel like the R&B music of today is nothing compared to what 90s was.
It's good music, but it's not
on the same.
It's not the same.
It just doesn't hit the same. I'm like listening to it on my Spotify and I'm like, don't make like,
it's
that.
Like it doesn't have the depth of voice that the 90s did. Like, don't get me wrong, you can argue like Ariana Grande, beautiful voice.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful voice. But if you stick her up against, Whitney Houston, the depth is just not there. Like, there was just so much emotion.
Oh gosh,
in that music. Like,
yeah, and I mean, I also forgot to mention Lauryn Hill because oh my gosh,
yeah,
love her too. Love
her.
I mean, I could do a whole episode on just R&B music. That may be in the future, guys. We may bring this back up. But I'm just saying,
there are too many.
I had to just go. I mean, that's what I did when I started making a Spotify list. And I was like, most of it's going to be a lot of 90s R&B because I mean, I have a lot of the albums of the pop bands and stuff, but I was like, it's gonna be them 90s R&B songs.
I'll keep us current with today. I don't know if you guys are as perpetually online as I am, but Robbie Williams just put out that movie where he's a CGI monkey man.
What?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing, and it's been the funniest thing to me. Robbie Williams, huge in the UK, huge in some European countries.
Yep.
A couple of his songs got over here and kind of got somewhere, but like it did not do well because when he was releasing music, he was up against all of the groups we've been talking about.
Yeah.
He was up against the boy bands, the girl groups. He was up against the big R&B. There was no way. I'm sorry.
Which group was he a part of? Was it?
Oh no, it's just him.
I thought he was in a group too.
No,
but
I think
don't
it was
remember.
Just maybe.
Take
I don't
5
know,
or
but like all over TikTok right now, there is this thing where the UK thinks Americans are like in on a joke against them that they don't know who Robbie Williams is because he's this huge, he's always been this huge thing, and Americans are like, I don't know who that man is.
Oh,
like,
well, they probably got confused with.
Yeah, no, he was in Take That.
Take that.
That's it. Yeah. That's what I thought.
But like even then, like it did not catch on here because there was too much good music here. And like, so he recently released this movie where he didn't want to play himself. He said inside he was a cheeky monkey man. So the whole time it's him as a CGI monkey man. I can't even make it through the trailer. It is so disturbing. But like on TikTok, the amount of people from the UK who cannot comprehend that we don't know who Robbie Williams is. And we're like, we don't know who that man is.
Oh no.
We don't know because he was up against absolute powerhouses and there was no way he was going to make it in the 90s, early 2000s over here against all of that. No way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like, what was that? Wasn't that? Want you back?
He had one that was like Candy.
It
was a Candy song. And there was like one other that I had heard.
Oh, Angels. Was that Calling All Angels?
Yeah.
Oh, that was him?
Yes. Yep. I knew. I was like, I know.
There was a more popular cover that came out later.
Oh, I think Train
Back for Good. Yeah. That's the one I was thinking. Well, I want you back for good. Want you back. Want you back for good. That was the one I was thinking
There are
of.
a couple that there were more popular covers of than
his
originals.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Yep.
He's not hurting. He just made a movie, a biopic about himself as a monkey.
Oh, as a monkey.
That's funny.
These are some choices, my friends. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's what popped in my head when we were talking about how good we had it as kids doing music, and I was like, it's so funny that's happening right now, and everybody's like, this is why we don't know who Robbie Williams is.
I discovered a lot of especially R&B. I discovered through like some television, like All That featured a lot of R&B artists.
Yes,
and the sort of that crossover with
Brian
Immature,
McKnight.
the guy who played Roger on Sister Sister was in the band Immature, and like that was that crossover that my brain was like, oh.
And the whole band was on there.
I also love the Sugar Hill Gang, which was like early days of rap. Like Rapper's Delight. Yes.
Some of the songs on All That soundtrack didn't, but like there is a version of Fantastic Voyage by Coolio on there that has censored the heck out of it because you can't sing that in front of kids. But Aaliyah, like powerhouse vocalist, she was 14 years old.
Yes.
But she and Jay-Z, I had no idea that stuff was going down back then. But like, age ain't nothing but a number. I had no business being in. That was what was happening.
And you have to shout out TLC because they did all that theme. So yes, TLC is just still Creep is probably one of my favorite songs. I listen to them all the time. I love TLC. Miss you, Lisa. Miss you, Lisa. Gosh, I mean, all that really solidified that. They helped us discover a lot of these that were not as well known, and then
Brandy was on there too, like on that the soundtrack album from like 97, I think 96. I got it for Christmas of 96. I remember. So let me.
Brandy and Monica. Have you? The Boy Is Mine.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god.
Did you hear the story? Alex, cut this out if you don't want it. Did you hear the story about, I don't remember if it was the Grammys or whatever it was. It was right before they were going to perform that song. I guess they got in a fight and Monica decked Brandy in the face. And they went and did the performance. And like, if you go back and watch it, like you can see how
the tension.
Angry and like the tension there. And those are things I just learned recently. And I was like, that's insane to me.
And the fact that they came back for Ariana's Boy Is Mine song and did a remix with them, and they're in her video. And
I don't love that song because I don't love why it happened, but I appreciate them for coming back.
True.
But TLC, Immature, Brandy, Coolio, Moke and Steph, Soul for Real, Aaliyah, Naughty by Nature, Faith Evans.
Oh my gosh, Genuine. I mean, can't mention 90s music without thinking of Pony.
Again,
thank you.
I had no idea what the song was about, but I heard that whole song and I loved it.
Oh my gosh. Half of the songs I listened to between them and Tyrese had some great hits in the 90s. I gotta get John B has been on my list lately. John B. If you don't know who he's more R&B, but he's a Caucasian guy. But it was he was on Sister Sister for their, I think it was their prom episode when they went to the prom.
Absolute memory unlocked there.
Yes. Oh, I gotta find him because I can't remember the song. I've got it on my spot. Yeah, They Don't Know is the song. Don't listen to what people say. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Yes. He has a great voice. I put a couple Tyrese songs on here too, like just But yeah, I'm telling you, I think I ended up being like, as an adult, I'm like, I think I really I'm secretly like loving R&B more. Like, I think it's just my favorite genre. It's turned into it. But it has to be 90s.
My lights are doing something weird in the background, but that's okay. Enjoy the light show there, like right where my head is. It's like antenna.
Okay, your Phoebe snoozing in the background.
Yeah, she's asleep at the rave. It's fine.
Look, me too, Phoebe. Me too.
Yeah.
It's bleeding now here, so.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get it later today, I think.
Yeah, we're getting on that snow.
Yeah, it's in here. They canceled our rehearsal, so.
Do we have any more honorable mentions before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. I'm just glad I wanted to talk about Weird Al. He was like on my mental list because we totally didn't talk about him the first time, and it's a sin. So
I'm definitely gonna give an honorable mention to Madonna because she really was a staple in the 90s.
She was.
I mean, she started in the late 80s, but
a human being now, but in her early days, great, good for you.
Yeah,
what she did for music and everything, and inspiring other artists,
and talking about censorship, and like she opened a lot of doors and a lot of conversations. So I appreciate her for what she did.
Yeah. But yeah, Mariah Carey, Christina Aguilera. I know they were more also later 90s.
Popped in the very tail end of the 90s.
Mariah came out earlier 90s.
Mariah was a little earlier.
Yeah, Mariah was earlier,
she was 90s.
Britney and Christina. Britney's first album was 99, and I think Christina's was around there too. So.
Yeah, they both came out with one at the same time. Yeah. And then we had mentioned Boyz II Men. I did want to shout out In Vogue.
Yes.
Gotta love In Vogue. Trying to think what else. Yeah, Boyz II Men just won Masked Singer. Finally, a group one. Oh, they're amazing too.
I called them also immediately. Like,
Me too.
They started singing, and I was like,
Boyz II Men.
That's Boyz II Men. And everybody's like dancing around it with the guesses, and I'm like, that's Boyz II Men. I don't understand.
And I guess I completely like slept on the fact that they were just now 3 of them, not the 4. Like they lost one of their members, but I was like, they still.
Well, it's just like Salt and Pepper. Like
there
was Salt and Pepper, Spinderella, but then there was also like every once in a while like other people who'd kind of hop in. Salt and Pepper Shoop is again one of my all-time favorite songs. I will listen to it on repeat.
Yeah, oh for sure. Yeah, I think so. I can't
even believe I went to an I Love the 90s concert.
Oh,
like within the last like 5 to 6 years, I high-fived Coolio. I didn't even realize
you did.
I love that this just popped in my head. I went to an I Love the 90s.
You didn't open with that?
I don't know why.
We like 90s music. Did we talk about everything? I think so. Oh yeah, I went to a
Hi, I'm Kiley. I don't have a good memory. And I don't have good recall either. Hi, I went to an I Love the 90s concert. I had floor seats. I was sitting next to a friend that I knew for a really long time, and I wasn't paying attention, and I saw everyone sticking their hand out, so I was like, oh, I better stick my hand out. So I stuck my hand out, and it was just cool. Sorry, bleep me. It was Coolio.
Splat and Coolio.
Splat and Coolio. Walked past, gave me a high five, and just kept walking, and I just like stood and stared at my hand. I was like, I just high-fived Coolio. What? But like I got to see Salt and Pepper live, which was the main reason I was there. I got to see Coolio perform. Unfortunately, I got to see Vanilla Ice perform.
Oh
wow.
Okay. Him.
That was an experience that I wish I didn't experience.
Listen.
Kids in Play was there. Like it was insane, and I love that I just now thought of it.
Just thought of that. Oh yeah, by the way, I did that. Yeah.
That's okay. Oh gosh. Million browser tabs open and the brain focuses on one at a time. I get it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But it was super cool, and I also had to work the next day, so I left early, and they kept Vanilla Ice toward the end, which I don't know why. I'm glad they did. That means I got to see some other people, but like,
probably so that way if people wanted to leave, they could leave.
Yeah, it was like, so bad, and it was getting late, and I was like, I have to work in the morning. I gotta go. So I left in the middle of Vanilla Ice. It was rough.
Yikes.
I mean, because I'm like, what? He did Ice Ice Baby. What else did he do?
The turtle song, Go Ninja, Go
Yeah, it was weird.
No,
not prepared for it.
Rapping turtles. Oh no.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh gosh. Yeah, there's a ton on there that I know we didn't mention, guys, and But
Yeah,
it
comment
just
some of
goes
your
to
favorites. What did we forget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know.
It just goes to show how 90s music was really a staple. I mean, of our childhood, and it really,
I mean, just the sheer like stretch of genres of
very
music we
much
had available. I feel
yes,
like the 80s, the 70s and the 80s is when things really started to expand,
band,
and
yeah,
then once the 90s hit, it was just
yeah, oh for sure,
unstoppable.
Anything goes, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because you know, 70s you're known for disco. 80s was more about hair metal or 80 hair bands and stuff that you
Yeah,
think of
you had
80s. That's the first thing you think of.
your classic rock,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know 90s typically a lot of people instantly think of like, the
grunge,
grunge and stuff, but
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 not
then there's
us.
rap,
band music,
But I'm like
R&B,
R&B,
pop
pop,
rap.
music, it's
R&B,
everything.
like yeah, it
It's a
exploded
wide
in the
range.
90s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, tell
Yeah.
us what your favorites were, because I know we missed them.
There's so many to name off.
Also, thank you for joining us for this first season of The Girls Room. We
Yeah.
are
Yes, thank
so
you.
happy to let you know we will be back next season.
Yay!
So if you have some ideas of things that you loved in your childhood in the 90s, let us know. Maybe we can get them covered. We'll definitely have some honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
But we look forward to talking to you guys in this next season. Yay!
And we'll splat you later.
Splat you later.
Bye.
This episode was recorded at Splat Attack Studios in virtual home studios, though none in Florida.